The winter season is here for edtech startups. That's what we were told when a communication from the Unacademy founder CEO Gaurav Munjal was leaked, in which he had very clearly written about the winter season, how fundraising would be a challenge for 12 to 18 months. When we talk about the winter season, we've also been hearing about mass layoffs across edtech startups, a markdown in valuations as well. But guess who's bucking the trend? Guess who is beating this winter season? It is the edtech startup Upgrad. Already a unicorn, it's done the unthinkable, which is it's raised more than $200 million, $210 million to be precise, in a new funding round. It doesn't just stop there. It's also planning to increase its team strength from 4,800 to more than 7,500. How is Upgrad beating the winter season? Let's find that out with the co-founder Mayank, who's now with us right here on StartUpCentral and ET Now. Thank you so much for giving us the time and being here. So no winter for you folks.
I think winter, as I mentioned the last time also, Nandha, to you, the post-winter spring comes. So yeah, I guess no winter. It's interesting times, as you said earlier as well, that there are certain, within edtech, while we can paint it on the same brush, but there are different sectors and sub-segments that are definitely seeing good traction and good interest from both consumers as well as investors. So happy to be in a situation, but step by step, trying to build what we're trying to build here at Upgrad.
Okay, so $210 million is the fundraise. Talk to us more about this, Mayank. First up, I know that as a privately held company, you don't have to share valuations. But first up, when you raise this money, have you done it at a lower valuation than the last round? Have you seen a bump up in valuations, or is it the same? And can you share what it is?
Yeah, so I think the valuation we are not commenting, but specific Nandha, there's a bump up. It's not a down round. It's not the same sort of plateau round. We now have our existing shareholders doubling down. So between Temasek, IFC, and IIFL, all three of them have invested in this round. We also have new shareholders coming in from India across the globe, whether it is ETS, Bodhi Tree, then the Sheikh Saria family, the Mittal family, etc., coming in as new shareholders. So we have expanded the shareholder base. Existing shareholders have also doubled down. In fact, this time we did one interesting thing, and that as a founder group, we have also invested close to about $12.5 million US as part of this round to ensure that we have over 50% ownership in Upgrad as a promoter group, as a founder group, which gives us enough control to sort of continue to do what we want to do and scale up our presence in the education ecosystem, specifically in the higher education lifelong learning space.
Okay, so you're seeing existing investors doubling down. You're seeing new investors also join the cap table. Some of them also from very prominent family offices, including those of the Bharti Airtel family office and Steel Baron Lakshmi Mittal's family office. But Mayank, what's also very interesting and part of your press release, the winter season is being accompanied by mass layoffs across startups. But your press release is talking about increasing the team strength from 4,800 to 7,600. Why and how? That's fantastic news, but talk to us more about this.
So just to fully clarify, Nanda, the part of this incremental employee count or headcount that we would be expecting partly comes from organic growth and hiring more people in the existing sort of line of businesses where we are now doubling down on. And part of it comes from various M&As coming in. So some of the future M&As that will be coming in will also add to the headcount as we go through. But interestingly, what we are seeing now, a lot of our increased headcount is happening towards teaching, faculty, mentors, and academic ecosystem. Just in the next 2 to 3 months' time, when we have some of the M&As closed and the hiring completed, out of the 7,600 colleagues that we will have, roughly there will be about 170 full-time faculty members, about 1,600 teachers who are distributed all across the country, and about 5,000 plus on-demand, on-contract coaches, mentors, and industry experts. So we are strengthening and doubling down on our academic staff and academic strength alongside the sales and marketing ecosystem. But excited about the times ahead. Hopefully, what the steps that we are taking, the entire lifelong learning journey will play out, and we will see some interesting action coming from our side to continue growing and to be on the growth trajectory.
So Upgrad, ladies and gentlemen, is not your typical edtech startup that is not doing K-12, is not doing live classes for college and things like that. What it's trying to do is to have lifelong learners. Their audience is 18-year-old onwards, those who are looking to learn new skills, to upskill themselves, etc. So Mayank, fortified with $200 million now, what's the game plan?
So there are two broad segments, Nayantara, that we are doubling down on. The first one is the college learner space, where they're seeking either online degrees or skilling programs or job link programs, and or study abroad programs. So that's one sector that we definitely want to double down on. The second one is around the working professionals or working adults. Look, India is a very interesting stage in the talent development ecosystem. We have taken up late 90s to early 2000 as the IT capital of the world. Today, there's an interesting opportunity for us to position ourselves as a digital skilled capital of the world. And with the right sort of doubling down of programs, new initiatives that we are launching in the working professional space, along with the B2B and enterprise learning ecosystem, we also again want to strengthen our position in the working professional space. The last one that I will open up from our perspective is looking for interesting M&A opportunities, whether it is in India or in developed markets such as US, and establishing a stronger presence in the international market. So we'll be continuing again on our growth trajectory and looking at taking initiatives which will further strengthen our lifelong learning play.
Mike, the last time I had your business partner and co-founder, Ronnie Screwvala, on the channel, he spoke about if there's a winter season, he and Upgrad will be like snow leopards going for the kill. So when you folks go for the kill, and when we're reading such bad headlines about edtech startups being in distress, what about inorganic growth, M&A opportunities? We've seen a slew of M&As from Upgrad. Is that going to continue?
So, I mean, absolutely, that is going to continue. And I just want to add one more thing to that is the slew of activities are not something recent. We spent the better half of last full year meeting with close to about 100 to 150 plus founders and companies. And that gave us enough insights of what's happening in the market, in the ecosystem. And honestly, in education, Anthara, each and every sector and segment has got its own natural cap. And therefore, for us to continue growing and continue scaling, it is important that we bring in the right and like-minded entrepreneurs to come along with us and build the ecosystem out. So we are actively looking at M&A opportunities. We'll be seeking certain interesting plays in India and some interesting opportunities and sort of developments in the US markets as well. So those two areas we'll continue to look for interesting founders and companies to partner with.
Will any of them be those distressed edtech unicorns that we've been hearing so many headlines about, layoffs and markdowns?
I think we'll see some interesting companies coming in. I can't say which one would be sort of falling in play, but you will definitely see some very interesting founders who have built some phenomenal companies coming along with us and partnering with us in the journey. And together, I'm sure that what we intend to build will become far more fortified and far more stronger, and perhaps weather the winter and come out during the springtime as even more stronger ecosystem player.
Okay, so inorganic growth, very much a part of the strategy. Tell us a little more, because this is what our viewers will want to understand. Many of them may be employees of edtech startups. Many of them may have lost their jobs at edtech. Many of them may still be wondering that do their children need to still embrace edtech the way they were during COVID. How did you folks at Upgrad do it differently? Is it because you never followed the growth at any cost model?
So 2-3 things. The first one from our side, very clearly, for the first 5 years of our journey, we never raised any external capital. And the entire investment and funding that was going in was purely capital coming in from the founder group. So we understand the concept of frugality. We understand the concept of return on capital employed. And as you rightly said, for us, growth is important. but not growth at any cost. The second thing that helped us was just our very clear focus on the higher education and lifelong learning space, where you can demonstrate outcomes. You can demonstrate people finding jobs, finding the next outcome in their own career. So for many folks who are looking at the edtech ecosystem, always focus and double down on areas and domains where you can measure outcomes and where you can measure the impact that the education is providing to the learner. I think these two focus areas of being frugal and right capital mindset, as well as focusing on the right customer segment with outcomes being delivered, has helped us to be where we are. And we hope that even as we sort of start scaling and expanding our presence, we keep those ethos in mind all the time.
So you're basically saying you never had to later on embrace frugality as a mission statement. You were frugal from day one. So, other spends also, whether it was like, I don't know, IPL sponsorship, business class tickets for senior executives, that you were never doing.
Absolutely not. I mean, we did come on television. We have spent money on advertising, but it was meant for a very specific business case and very specific business outcome. And in this ecosystem, Nayanthara, it's very important that one really appreciates and understands that the spend that is going in is leading to some kind of an outcome, either in terms of business or outcome for the learner. If all founders are focused on providing the right outcome for the learners and leveraging the capital in the right way, education is an absolute double down business. And all edtech companies put together have just started scratching the surface of the larger ecosystem. So together, I do believe that there is a lot of action to be yet played out in the education and the edtech sector, and you will see some very, very interesting opportunities and scale companies coming out of India, not just solving for India, but for global aspiration and global needs.
In fact, on Sunday, we did see the Prime Minister meet with the Niti Aayog Governing Council. He's met with the states as well. The Union Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, recently has also come out with certain comments on FDI and education. How should one see all of these different pieces and what it can mean for edtech and Upgrad in particular?
So I think government has been quite supportive of the larger, broader edtech ecosystem. If you look at the national education policy, one of the words that has been most commonly used is digital and online. And government has definitely been pushing digitization of current education system and including various elements in the online ecosystem to further strengthen the education system in India. But I think outside of the government, what I truly believe, which is happening very interestingly in the ecosystem, is many founders are finding very innovative ways of solving for very large problems, trying to either reduce the cost of delivery or increase the efficacy of education. So I'm 100% sure that with the right support and the right framework and the right guidelines coming from the government's ecosystem and the right founder energy that the country has been seeing, you will see some very, very interesting companies and very interesting solutions coming out of the edtech space.
Okay, so we're all on standby for that. Till then, thanks a lot, Mayank, for joining us today on the show.
Thanks, Nayanthara. Thank you for having me.